Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how you can build an open terrarium with just a glass bowl such as this, some dirt, some stones and a few plants. So I recently went to my local nursery and I saw that they were selling terrariums for £50, £60, up to £100. So I thought I might as well make one myself. Seems a bit more fun to do it that way. So that's what I'm gonna do in this video. So there's a few bits that you need to build your open terrarium. I'm gonna show you everything you need, the full process. So let's get to it. Okay then guys, so an open terrarium is basically a curated bowl of decorative plants. So there's a few things you need to achieve that. Obviously you need a nice vessel of some description, needs to be clear so that you can see through it. That's the whole point of it. I've got some perlite here as a layer for my soil. I've got some stones for decoration. I've got some just standard potting soil, some rooting hormone because I'm going to be taking some cuttings of these plants. I'm going to be using cuttings in here. So I've got a selection of plants over there. I'll show you what those are in a second. And then I've got some interesting bits of bark here as decoration. So I'm not sure I'm going to use that yet, but we'll see that together. So when you're making an open terrarium, you want to select some plants like I have that have the same care requirements and kind of grow at the same speed and also slow growing. So what I've got here is a Fittonia and a couple of begonias. And also in this jar, I've got a Peperomia Santorini that I've been propagating. I think it's just starting to develop some roots. I'm going to pop that in there. So I've got a selection of plants, contrasting colours as you'll see. So it gives a bit of interest to the terrarium. I'm using perlite because it's, as well as a useful potting medium, it's decorative because it's white, so it'll contrast nicely with the potting soil. So the first thing that we need to do is to sort out our layers of soil. So what we're going to do, just put these plants to one side for the sec, just to create some room. So what you want to do, you want a layer of soil or potting medium about 1/3 of the way up the vessel. So what I'm going to start doing is taking some nice pebbles out of here, some nice stones, and just layering a few of these at the bottom here. So you'll be able to see these through the grass at the bottom, so it just adds a little bit of interest. Not too many, just a few, just around the edge where you can see it. A couple of smaller ones there. Okay, so that's my base layer, I guess. And then to that, my bottom layer is going to be perlite. So I'm just going to scatter that at the bottom. So the good thing about using perlite is that it is a medium that plants will grow in. So I've got 2 layers, compost and perlite, so the plant's roots will develop and grow into both layers. So I'm just using perlite as a kind of interest factor. So it's a really nice white colour, obviously. So that's my perlite done. Now I'm going to grab my soil. So this is just compost, my usual potting soil that I use for my houseplants. So there's already a bit of perlite in here, but it's essentially just compost with perlite. So I'm just going to carefully spoon this on top. I'm about halfway up there, I guess. Already looking quite nice. Nice contrast with the white and the dark soil. So what we're going to do, just going to set this to one side for the time being, just at the back there. Now we're going to bring in my plants. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make some cuttings. So that's 3 from my Fittonia. So I'll just cut it at just underneath a leaf node. That one, do you think? Yeah, just underneath a leaf node. So that's another one. Put that to one side now. And in this plant, another begonia. So I'm just going to take a couple of cuttings from this. Snip that off there. Maybe 4 of these cuttings I'll take. So that's 4 of those. I can put that to one side now. So these peperomias in here, these are from my video that I did, how to propagate Peperomia Santorini. So these have been in here a few weeks. So there you can see starting to develop some roots on the end of that stem. So I can use that for this terrarium. A few more on that one. So I've got 3 cuttings of peperomia. That will look really nice in this terrarium. And I'll put that back on the shelf. Hopefully it will develop roots. Okie dokie, so let's bring this back into frame. So these are prepped. I'm just going to prep these other cuttings now. So you just want to just trim just underneath a leaf node, and this is where the roots are going to develop. So we want to discard that leaf and that leaf, because otherwise if you stick that in, they'll just rot. Same with this one. I'll just trim it so it's closer to that leaf node so the roots come out. I'll just discard those 2 bottom leaves. Take that off like so. So as you can see, I've chosen some plants that are contrasting in kind of colour and texture. And that's what you want really. You want a terrarium with lots of interest. There you have it, there's another cutting. So that's my selection of cuttings. Let's just move them to one side. Bring in my terrarium. So what we need to do now is arrange them nicely in here in a nice fashion. So I'm probably going to group the sets of plants together. So I will go for in that corner there, and I'll plant it like so. So that's one. Do this next to it. That's 2. So I'm going to move on to another type of plant now. I don't want it to be too crowded with one type. So pop that one in, this one next to it, and that one just in there, I reckon. So you don't want to crowd it too much because they are little cuttings that have yet to develop roots and they will grow bigger. So there will come a time where you'll need to probably prune. So not a bad start so far. Should I put a little bit of driftwood in there just to make it a bit interesting? Just get that going. Put that up against that one. That looks quite nice. Put that one up against there. So that plant, that begonia, should grow nicely over that bit of driftwood. It's a bit of bark from the garden really, it's not really driftwood. This one now I would like to go up against the other end of that driftwood. So there's a little gap there, look quite nice. Have it pointing that way. This other piece next to it. Got this other smaller one here. Just realised that I forgot to dip these cuttings into my rooting powder. Never mind, they should still develop roots. So I'm just using my chopstick to get the dirt off of that plant. And then I think I'm just gonna, shall I stick that one in there? Yeah, stick that one in there next to that. Looking quite nice. What does it need? Needs a few stones, I reckon. I'll bring them in. Let's choose a nice couple of stones. That one's got a nice colour to it. Where should we put that? Let's put that just there on the end. And I'll have that leaf just draping over that stone if I can. Just pull it out a little bit. So hopefully you can see that. Go for a larger stone like that one. Again, just have that slightly draping over. Might go for another little bit of driftwood just there in that corner. So you can always play around. If you're not happy with how it looks, you can always take things out, rearrange them as you go. This is not set in stone. So I think we need something to complement that. A couple of stones. So I would like another bit of driftwood just behind that plant. I've not put my peperomias in yet. Where shall I put those? I think I'll put that just there at the end. There you are. Don't want it to hide anything, so I might just, there you are, that's better. Maybe just facing the other way as well. I think that would look quite nice. And I'll just bring this up like so. So anything I want to do, I think there's a bit of a gap in there. Could fill with some stones. One underneath that leaf. What do you think, guys? Is that nice? Looks like it's got a good shape to it. Nice contrast of colours and patterns. So I've got my Fittonia there, my two begonias and my peperomia. So all these will grow relatively slowly, quite nicely together, I think. So next step, I think, is to just tidy the sides of this bowl. I've got a paintbrush here. The inside of this bowl has just accumulated some dust from mainly the perlite, so I'm just going to give it a wipe down. And there you have it, nice and clean. So all that's left to do now is just to water these plants. I've got my spray bottle in here. I'm just going to give it a light spray over the top. Moisten the soil underneath. Spraying it off in this way kind of dislodges any dirt on the leaves as well. Okay, I've finished spraying it, so I'm just going to dry the excess around the inside of the pot. Just I don't want to leave any watermarks. I want it to be nice and pristine. And I think I'm done. I think that looks really nice. Really happy with how that's turned out. Got a nice layer of perlite and soil. Got some stones at the bottom, just to add a bit of interest. And then I've got a nice selection of small, slow growing plants with some bark to act as driftwood and some nice decorative stones. So the plants I've got in here, got a Fittonia there, a couple of begonias and a peperomia santorini that are rooting. So these are unrooted cuttings. They should root in here successfully. I'll keep my eye on it. I'll top it up with my spray bottle when it starts to dry out. I'll locate it in a nice bright spot for it to develop roots. So I'm expecting this peperomia to start to grow taller and needs to remain quite shallow in the bowl. So it'll be a nice contrast in height and also in texture as well. So really happy with how this has gone on. So I'm sure you'll agree there, guys, that this is a really easy process to create your own open terrarium. So like I said, I saw these in the shops for about north of 50 pounds. They're really quite expensive for what they are, I think, but really easy to create. So why not have a go at home yourself? Let me know in the comments if you have created your own open terrarium and let me know how you're getting on with yours. If you like the video, then please do give it a thumbs up. Really helps the channel grow. In a few weeks, I'll probably be making a closed variety of this, a closed terrarium. So subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified when that video comes out. Thanks for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video.